What is going on, guys? SkiveWalker here, and I apologize for not having an upload on Monday. That is completely my fault. Me and the Fed had some miscommunication, and it was completely on my fault, or on my side, my fault. So what I was going to talk about Monday, I'm going to talk about today. Probably should be packing for New Jersey, which I'm leaving for in about 2.5 hours, but we can do that later. So we're going to be breaking down the Colts game, and I'm going to give you my predictions for the conference championships as they're this weekend on Sunday. And I went 2 for 2 again this week. And unfortunately, my Colts did go down. So we're going to go down with it. The Colts lost to the Chiefs 31-13. And what was really a dominating performance by the Chiefs. Even though as bad as the Colts played, they were still within. It could have been within a touchdown going into the fourth quarter. But of course, Vinatieri missed the field goal and he missed the extra point, which is unlike him. And if Mr. Automatic's going to miss, you just know it's not your day. So really the only problem I had with the game, other than, of course, the loss, but I wasn't so much mad about the loss. It's hard to be mad when you lose to a 12-4 team with your franchise quarterback just coming back after being hurt for 2 years. Brand new coach, another coach spurned you. You started off the season 1-5 and you snuck into the playoffs at 10-6. Hard to be mad about losing to one of the best offenses we have ever seen in NFL history, really. So it's hard to be mad about that. The part that made me more mad was really the lack of effort and the lack of discipline on the team, which normally isn't like this team. This team is very well coached, very disciplined, doesn't commit a lot of penalties, and they committed a lot of penalties last week. And when you do that, especially against this caliber of a team, they're going to kill you, and that's really kind of exactly what happened. So we're going to be breaking it down. Andrew Luck went 19 of 36, which doesn't seem that bad, but he really didn't have a great game. He wasn't sharp. He wasn't crisp. He missed a lot of open guys. But he went 19 of 36, 203 yards and a touchdown. Did not have an interception, but he was sacked 3 times. Marlon Mack, who I thought was going to have a fantastic day as the Chiefs have a terrible run defense, was held in check with 9 carries for 46 yards. The whole running game as a whole were held under 100 with only 87 total. Just not a good day for the running backs. Not a great day for the receivers, as T.Y. Hilton was the leading receiver, 4 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. He had 11 targets and only brought in 4 of them, so it just goes to show you how rough of a day it was. T.Y. Hilton was looked to a lot. Not that he dropped so many, it's just Andrew Luck was a little off. Andrew Luck did fumble once going into in the second half, which gave the Chiefs the ball back, and they ended up scoring on that drive. Darius Leonard recovered a fumble. That was a big play. He also finished with 14 tackles, so the star defensive player came up with the tackles, but the defense as a whole did not show up. Patty Mahomes, 27 of 41, 278 yards, but no touchdowns at all. Pat Mahomes had a pretty good day. He didn't have a great day. He had a great first half. He had an absolutely fantastic first half. The Colts, I was surprised, made great adjustments. They had not faced an offense like the Chiefs, and the Chiefs came out at the end of the first half with 24 points. So they jumped all over the Colts defense. The Colts defense adjusted, only giving up the touchdown in the fourth quarter. They made the adjustments that they needed to do, or that they needed to make to give the Colts a chance to win, and the Colts offense just couldn't get anything together. Another amazing thing, Pat Mahomes averaged, yeah, that would have been kind of nuts if he averaged it. He had, for the season, 1,500 yards on deep balls. So passes over 20, 30 yards. And he threw for 5,000 yards. So a little over a fifth of his yards were from the long ball. He had 0 against the Colts. So the Colts defense did a great job of taking the top away. Patty Mahomes did just feed Travis Kelce underneath, as Travis Kelce was their leading receiver with 7 catches for 108 yards, and then Tyreek Hill right behind him with 8 catches for 72 yards. Neither one of those guys, though, had a touchdown, and credit to the Colts defense for keeping the 2 best players out of the end zone. I mean, they didn't really shut them down. I was kind of right saying Tyreek Hill was going to have less than 100 yards, and he had 72, but he still made the impact that they needed him to make, and Travis Kelce was the biggest impact of the day. He just completely shredded and found holes in the zone. And probably the best player of the day, and it's sad to say, the Colts finally gave up a 100-yard rusher. Damian Williams, 25 carries, 129 yards, and a touchdown. Just picked apart the Colts defense. They could not stop him. They were so worried about the passing attack that Damian Williams just feasted. And it really looked like they didn't need to worry about losing out on Kareem Hunt, as they had Damian Williams right behind him, just shredding the Colts defense. So, all in all, I thought the Colts played really, really poorly. They probably had the worst game of the year at the completely wrong time. I mean, we punted 7 times for 338 punting yards, which is great that we had that many punting yards, but you don't ever want to punt 7 times. And what really helped is the Colts' only touchdown of the day was off of a blocked punt. So it really goes to show you of how rough that the offense really was. And we had a touchdown in the fourth quarter and when Andrew Luck threw one to T.Y., but at that point the game was kind of over. There was still that glimmering hope of a shot that the Colts could score or could come back in the game. But really no concrete hope. Me as a Colts fan was, of course, saying, hey, there's a shot. There's always a chance. But there really was not a chance. The Chiefs really dominated this game front to back. So good luck to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. You guys very much well deserved it. And you have a great team, and I think you have a very good shot against the Patriots. But we're breaking down the rest of the Colts season, and they're not going to be too much longer, probably another 4 to 10 minutes or so. I was really pleased with how the season was, to be honest with you, and I made the video. I thought the Colts would win at most 9 games, at most, and that was if everything fell correctly. I was really thinking between 7 and 8 with Andrew Luck coming back, first-time head coach. And I figured we'd be right at the hunt of the wild card, but not quite make it, and possibly even being in the division race, which we really were until the end. But that's more because the Texans are a little overrated, and the division as a whole is. I mean, we had 3 teams knocking on the door of the playoffs, and it still seems like a soft division. With the Jaguars thinking the Titans, even though they were right there, not really a big threat. The Texans won the division, but not a big threat. That's probably going to be the last time the Texans win the division for a while. I just feel like with as young of a team as the Colts have, we're going to have almost $130 million in cap space, and our franchise quarterback is locked up for a while. He's back. He's healthy. The Colts are going to be able to do some damage for a long time. So I think the division's going to be going back in Indianapolis' favor for the foreseeable future. But for this year, I really did not expect the season that we had. We really finished on a bad note, but the rest of the season was relatively good. I mean, you start off losing to the Bengals, which of course stinks because the Bengals ended up stinking by the end of the year. But you lost to the Bengals, then you go back and beat the Redskins, and then you lose 4 in a row. Luckily, 3 of the 4 were the playoff teams. You lost to the Eagles, you lost to the Texans, you lost to the Patriots, and then the one loss that was kind of horrible is the Jets, and you gave up 42 points to the Jets. So it really kind of stunk after that point, but then they jumped right back in and didn't lose again until week 13 when they laid an egg against the Jaguars. So at that point, they had won 5 games in a row. And if you look at it, they really won another 5-game winning streak before they stunk up the room again against the Chiefs. So it was like 5 good games, bad game, 5 good games, bad game. And it just happened. We had a bad game against a very, very good team. I think the Colts are a very, very good team as well. But when you play that poorly, against anybody, really against anybody, it stinks more when it was the Chiefs because they're that good and they're going to make you pay for it. But if you stink that bad against anybody, they're going to make you pay. They're all professional football teams. As bad as the Raiders were and as bad as the 49ers were, they probably would have beat us that day because that's just how bad we played. So to start off the season 1-5 and then to rattle off 5 wins before the next loss and then 5 more wins to get into the playoffs and really been in playoff mode since week 6 when we lost to the Jets. The whole mantra of 1-0 is really a cliche, but this team really took on it. I mean, they really took ownership of that mindset, and it's a great mindset not just in sports but in life. If you can take it where you just want to go 1-0 on the day and 1-0 in our everyday life where we just find ways to improve, where we can win that next victory in our lives and that next mountaintop and we can overcome it. And the Colts really embody that this year, and that's why I think they really became America's team for the year, and they became the team that everybody wanted to root for. They weren't a cocky team. They really just went to work every day with one mindset to get better. You have a quarterback in Andrew Luck that I don't know how anybody can hate the guy. He's just an upright, standing guy. And when defensive players hit him, he tells them to hit him harder, and he compliments them if they actually get a good hit. So he's one of those guys I don't know how anybody hates him and how anybody could root against him. But then again, he's my quarterback, so maybe that's why, but I don't know. But this team's going to be good for a while, and they really took on that cliche of 1-0, and they went to work thinking, how can we improve for this next week? How can we improve for this next game? They came out, they accomplished their goal, and then went right back to work on Tuesday saying, all right, how do we get better for this next week? How do we get better for this next game? How can we go 1-0 again for this next week? And overall, it's a credit to Chris Ballard, the general manager, really putting this group together. And I think a lot of it really goes on Frank Reich, who was really a coach afterthought. I mean, we had Josh McDaniels hired. We had the press conference ready to go. And then he, like the snake that he is, he went out on us and went back to New England, which is fine. He has every right to do that. But the coaching staff that he brought in was really kind of stuck there, and Frank Reich didn't see to it to fire everybody. He said, let's keep us together and see what we can do. And we had a really great group of coaches this year, and they really followed the leadership of Frank Reich, who is really made a name for himself as he was one of the best coaches in the year this year, and he really might win Coach of the Year. I think Andy Reid will end up ultimately getting it for leading the Chiefs to an incredible season. But you can't talk about that award and not have Frank Reich in it. The team had the 6th pick in the draft last year, and it was originally the 3rd pick before he traded out, as long as I'm pretty sure that's correct. So they were one of the 3 worst teams in the league, and then we went right back around, and until the last day, we could have possibly won the division, and we ended up winning 10 games. So the simple fact that you go from winning 4 games to 10 games in a season just gives a lot of credit to not only the general manager for doing a great job drafting and stealing Darius Leonard in the 2nd round and him becoming an all-pro, trading back in the 1st round for a few picks back to grab Quentin Nelson and get another 2nd-rounder for this next draft. You have that, and then you have the leadership and the character that Frank Reich has, and then, of course, your franchise quarterback comes back and really kind of removes all doubt of can he ever get back to who he was when he had his best season of his career. So it all came together for something good. I can't thank Colts enough. It was such a roller coaster ride where we start off 1-5 and we felt like, well, here comes another lost season, and then they really brought the team together, fought for it, and really just became a good team at the end of it. The offensive line was the best I've seen probably since the Super Bowl run, and even then, the year after that is when I started to watch football. So even though I've seen a Colts Super Bowl victory in my life, I actually rooted for the Bears in that game, and then started rooting for Peyton Manning after, just because he was that good, being my favorite player of all time. But I've never seen a Colts team as fun to watch as this team was. In all aspects of the game, the offensive line was the best I've seen since 2006. The defense is probably the best I've ever seen it. The running game was existent for once. It's just, it was unbelievable. And even though we didn't win the Super Bowl, I can't help but mark the season to success. And I'm part of a family that hates to lose, and I do. And it stinks to come up 2 games short of the Super Bowl. Your team, you always want your team to win, and it's never fun to lose. And most teams, when you think of losing in the divisional round, a lot of teams can consider that a failure. This is one time I'm going to consider it a success. Where my Yankees, where they lost in the divisional round, I consider that season a failure. I consider this season a success. It was a complete 180 turnaround, and the future's looking bright as it ever has been. And I can't credit Frank Reich enough. A complete afterthought and a complete outcast. And somebody who wasn't even really interviewed for the job until Josh McDaniels left. And then going for 2 in that game against the Texans where we ultimately lost in overtime, he really won the locker room that day. He really did, where the players said, okay, he really wants to win. He will do whatever it takes for us as a unit to win. He won over the locker room. He won over the hearts of Colts Nation. He didn't win over the media that day because the media still criticizes him for it, because if he doesn't go for it, kick the field goal, you're tied, you probably win the division. But at the end of the day, we beat the Texans in the wild card round anyway, so what's it matter? I would have rather him did what he did. I'd rather go for the win. I hate ties in the NFL. I think it's the most foolish thing in the world. I don't know why they don't just go to the college route, where the college overtime is so much more exciting and so much more fun, and it doesn't take nearly as long as the NFL overtime, and there's no stinking ties. Let there be a winner. Let there be a loser. Get rid of the stinking ties. I just think that's the one thing the NFL needs to do is get rid of the ties. And I'm glad that I have a coach that would rather go down swinging and going down trying to win than trying to play the safe route and squeak out with a tie. I can't stand that mentality of playing super conservative. I want to be on the aggressive side every time. I want to blitz all the time. I want to go for the win every single time. And I have a coach that does that, and Colts Nation does as well. And it was a truly great ride. So I don't know if anybody from Colts Nation or in the organization will ever get to hear this, but really from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank you enough for this season. It was a lot of fun. It was a great time. It was a great ride. And just thank you for really making football fun again, because the last few years was really rough as a Colts fan. We had Andrew Luck, not last year, but the year before, and we only won 8 games. And it was really the past GM just made life miserable. The past coach, as great of a guy as I think he is, just wasn't doing a great job. And I wish Coach Pagano the best. But his team was never the same. And we gave up a league-high 52 sacks last year and went right back around and tied for the least sacks given up with 18. And to turn that around is just all credit to you guys. And again, even though we didn't win the Super Bowl, it's a success. And you guys may not feel that way over in Indianapolis in the front office, and I don't expect you to, because I know you expect to win Super Bowls and to be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the season. And I think we're going to get there here in the near future. So thank you. Really, thank you. It was a fun season, and I can't dub it any more than a success. And I know I'm kind of rambling here, but I really can't thank them enough. It was a lot of fun. So on that note, I'm going to go get ready to pack and get my stuff ready to go visit the Big Apple and to go see the big city again. I cannot wait to go see Times Square, Manhattan, and to be in arguably the best city in the world. So thank you. And thank you for everybody for watching and for listening. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed this ramble session and this breakdown, little bit of a breakdown of the season, nothing too much in depth. Oh, before I go, my picks for the AFC conference round, as me and the Fett will not be able to get together this weekend because he's going to be in snowy Ohio and I'm going to be in snowy New York. So I'm going to be picking the Chiefs over the Patriots, and a close one because of the snow, 24-21. And then the night game, I'm going to be taking the Saints over the Rams in a little bit of a shootout, 38-34. Saints win. Good luck to everybody. And I'm rooting for Drew Brees the rest of the way. If the Chiefs can't win it, Drew Brees. Anybody but New England at this point. So, all right, guys. SkiveWalker signing off. Be safe out in the blizzard. If you're anywhere in the snow area that they're claiming that the storm's coming through, make sure you stay safe. Make sure you grab some water. Make sure you get all your food. So that way when the snow starts to fly, you guys don't have to leave your homes. You can stay in where it's nice and warm. Stay safe. Stay off the roads if you can. Just plan on spending that time with your family, really. I know this is a sports channel, but I'm going to take a little time here. Spend some time with your family this weekend. Have some fun. Talk about each other's weeks if you haven't. Have some dinner together. Maybe play a board game, play some video games together, do something, watch a movie, something together. Just have some good old-fashioned family time as the snow is going to be flying. Alrighty, guys. I'm out of here. SkiveWalker signing off. Peace!